What's up, guys? Today, we are going to talk about toy packaging. I just recently purchased some figures, and I started thinking about packaging. I said, you know what? I'm always talking about the toy, but I said, I want to give you guys some insight in packaging. Packaging is kind of this love-hate relationship with toys for me. So I got a bunch of examples, and I'm going to get into what I feel about modern day toy packaging. So recently, I was at Target getting a couple things, and I had seen these new Star Wars figures that they put out, these guys right here. And I'd seen them several times, and I was like, those actually look really cool. And there was something about them that I was like, I think I'm eventually going to pick some of those up because I like them. They look cool. There's a lot of confusing aspects to it, but it very much reminded me of like Power of the Force 2, which this is a line I love. This line really kind of kicked collecting into high gear for me. Hopefully, I think it did for a lot of people, but this line was like perfect at the time where it came out. And to me, I still think these figures hold up. I know a lot of people like, you can get these for like $2 and $3 because people are like, oh, so many better Obi-Wans have come out. But there was something about this. Like, I just think that they look cool. Yes, some of the figures were on HGH at the time, but you know, they fixed that as the line went on. So I picked up Luke and Vader in this, it's called Epic Hero Series. Now, this kind of got me to start thinking about like this line and then just action figure packaging as a whole. Because I think like modern day action figure packaging, it's very muddy water. I think one of the biggest problems out there today is the messaging. You know, you used to be able to walk down the toy aisle. You knew this line. You knew this line. Like this line made sense. Boom. It was very straightforward. Figure, picture, name, line. Look, Kenner didn't even put their logo. Kenner logo was on the back. It was like, this is all you needed. It was very simple. And I always feel like it should be simple. Now, I think it should be simple because to me, it's always been about the product. And I think I may have told this story in a podcast or something like that, but I was like kind of clashed with the packaging team at, you know, mostly at Hasbro because Jazzwares, I wasn't really there long enough to do it. But to me, what's important is this. This is what people are buying. This is, especially in a kid product, this is what they're buying. They're throwing this out. This is what they're buying. So it should be about this and it should focus on this and that's it. Even collector stuff. You know, I was an out-of-the-box collector, so to me, packaging didn't mean anything. I'm taking that thing out anyway. You know, you buy vintage stuff now, of course, you keep it in the package. That's fine. You know, iconic G.I. Joe stuff, He-Man, Thundercats, of course. But it was always about the product. When I collected Power of the Force 2, I took these guys right out. You know, I saved the card, but that was it. You don't have those cards anymore. You don't have bio cards because it's for language and all this messaging gets real muddy. But I would tell them like, guys, like we're putting too much money into the packaging on Marvel. And I said one day in a meeting, people buy what they buy because of this, not because of the packaging that gets thrown out. And I remember that ruffled some feathers, but it was a 100% true statement. Sometimes with Comic-Con items, those kind of things, you know, the Serpentor's got the big open box. You know, I worked on really cool Comic-Con items. The packaging is more celebrated because it has a function to it. They do stuff. When it comes to like generic everyday packaging, it needs to be more simplified and the message needs to be clear. This is clear. You see this on shelf, you know. There's no confusing thing. So when I go to Target, there's in the Star Wars section, which is a mess as it is, there's Black Series, and even Black Series has multiple different looking, you know, packaging layouts and things like that. Whereas like I remember being on Marvel Legends, package was the same. The MCU title changed. It was either the Evergreen logo or the MCU logo. But other than that, you knew what you were getting. You knew it belonged in the Legends line. And then we started muddying the waters by making the Universe, branding that Legends, 12-inch branding that Legends. Everything collector was Legends, which I didn't agree with at the time, but you know, they did it, didn't work. So now here we are. But You know, they even did it with their, you know, their kind of throwback 3 3/4 inch figures. They tried making them legends, and that didn't work because that line's not here anymore. But I saw this Star Wars line, and I'm like, there's something cool about that. But it looked nothing like anything else on the shelf. But also, I looked at it, and I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Okay, you have Star Wars, Darth Vader. All right, well, you have this covering a third of the figure, which nothing covered that figure. You know, see the figure. You know, I don't want to talk about Action Force. I want to keep this about other lines, but there's a reason I moved to the blister card. I want to see the whole figure. I include a lot of stuff in the figures. Figures look really cool. You want to make sure you celebrate the figure. But this is like you're cutting off a third of the figure, which I've always had a problem with. But it's like, oh, and then, oh, Epic Series. Oh, because you're not sure, because Star Wars has so many different things going on. They got Vintage Collection, or not Vintage Collection, but it's Black Series, but 3 3/4. Then you have Black Series 6-inch. So it's just like, well, what is this? Like, I get it. It's kid because I know what I'm looking for, but it's kid. All right, cool. But it's just like you hide this over here. It's like, why not like put that somewhere like where you can see it? So it's like you understand what the brand is. And then like packaging artwork is such like a love-hate relationship for me because I love art. I really do. And you want to show art. But if you're buying Luke, this doesn't matter. You know who you're buying. You know, here it's like, okay, we show the movie, which was, I think is better because this is what the line was connected to, the movie. You know, this art connects to nothing. This isn't a comic book. This is an animated series. This works because people knew this. You knew what you were getting. This is just, it's just muddy. Like it just, you know, and then, you know, you get the big warning label, okay. But it's like that could have been put down here. You know, there's just too much going on and not the right stuff going on. You know, and then you turn it over and it's, you know, 3D rendered image and just tons of different languages, which had been a problem for years, but I don't know why they're still chasing that initiative because I'll get into another package later where the file card is 4 times the size of the originals. So it's just got me thinking, I'm like, man, these like the messaging is just unclear. And it's just that way with everything when you go down the toy aisle, you know, and I just think packaging is too busy. There's too much going on. Like I love Playmates, but I look at the new Turtles line and I look at the retro Turtles line. There's just so much going on. You need to be simple. Like just be, there's something about this that's simple. Now you could probably say, no, I love packaging. That's cool. I'm just giving kind of my take. But I was like, I need to like look at other packaging and kind of get into the weeds of modern packaging because, you know, I'm not taking anything away from packaging designers. Like they're very, very talented. It's just, I just think like some things are just too much. And I just think we need to get back to the basics with toys. So I got a couple examples. Might as well start off with the one that's just going to make people angry because they get angry when I talk about G.I. Joe anyway. But, you know, here's a new classified figure. You know, I'm so happy they moved away from the closed box. I think we can all, as a toy community, agree on that the closed box was a terrible idea, like absolutely terrible. I think it hurt the most for kid product because I felt like, you know, I saw like the Thor Love and Thunder figures on shelf and it was a squeeze leg figure that did an action. Okay, well, those used to be in platform boxes, so you can do a try me. And it was in a closed box and there's so much graphics and text that you can't really tell what's going on. It's like that's got to be simple for a kid to get it. So I think a kid is going to look at that and just go right past it, or a parent. They're like, it needs to be very simple and very direct. Collector stuff, you got to see it, man. You got to see everything. And I just think this is great. They went back to this too much. Like, to me, it's like going back to the art thing. If you want to keep the art, you got it over here. This is redundant. This is redundant. Like when I had the artwork on the Action Force boxes, it was on the side and it was on the file card. It was never on the front because it just took up too much real estate. Like, I don't know. I'd have to open him up. Maybe there's nothing behind him because they don't tend to come with a lot of stuff. But say there is, you're losing that. But still, just drop this down. Show me G.I. Joe. Show me his name. That's what, like, celebrate this. This is what people care about. They don't care about that because that's right here. It's redundant. you know, this, I've always felt this stuff is what the G.I. Joe packaging does the best, is the icons that show like what he does and the numbering and stuff like that. Like, this is great. This is too much. On the back, you know, you get, you know, there's the 3D rendering, which I have a problem with 3D rendering. I've done it on the Legend of the White Dragon packaging, but I try not to do it like ever, because it's different. Like, there's, I forgot what figure it was. It was the the 60th anniversary figure. Some parts were different than the actual product, so it's not the same. You know, file cards. We grew up on the G.I. Joe file cards, so like when you don't see them on here, it's, you know, and then it's like, all right, well, what are you celebrating about this figure? You're celebrating his unit patch and his helmet. I don't know if those are like the best two things to celebrate on this figure. Like, there's so many other cool things about this figure. Like, like the G.I. Joe team has always done really good backpacks. I'd show the backpack or some of the detail in the vest. It's like, you're showing me a helmet and you're not even showing me like the cool part with the night vision goggles that plug in. You're showing me just a side view. Show me like, you know, the night vision goggles like plugging in. Show me that. Just show me something that celebrates the product more. So, you know, that's that. We'll keep going with G.I. Joe, just because, you know, Mark, my employee, I did not get this. So when we open it up and it has a bent weapon, I don't want people to say I did it on purpose. Mark brought this in, and, you know, because I just wanted to check it out. It wasn't something I was interested in getting, but I wanted to check it out. Now it's like, here you got artwork. You got the icons, things over here. But it's like, this is okay, you know, because the old vehicles you always celebrated like artwork of the vehicle because you couldn't show it because there's assembly. And you show the figure. This is really good. And it's like I got to the top and I was like, okay, so you gave me the number up here, which the number's over here, the number's over here, the number's over here, and the number's here. That's kind of redundant. But I'm like, the Cobra logo is one of the most iconic logos ever. And this is where, like, packaging the art and the designers, I'm like, why did you need to be edgy or different? Like, you cut it off. Like, why couldn't you just show the whole, it's not like you didn't have the room here. You had the room. Show me the whole logo. No, let's cut it off. Let's be different. Like, it's, to me, that just looks odd. I know, I'm sure people are like, why are you making such a big deal of it? Probably, yeah. But to me, that just looks, I would never do that. I would never cut my logo that I know has value. I would never cut off part of it like that. That's just, there's just no need for that. You could have done more here. This is unused real estate up here that, you know, was squandered. Back's fine, you know, shows everything, you know, but yeah, I just think there's some busy parts to it, but that logo, man, why would you ever want to cut off something that has such great value? I'll show, you know what? Let's just keep it going because you guys, yeah, let's keep G.I. Joe going. So retro stuff, you know, I picked this up. She's actually a great figure. This is a really, really great figure. I should probably say that 6 more times because I have to say it when I'm looking at a G.I. Joe product. Otherwise, you guys are going to get mad at me. Great backpack, gummy weapons, but the figure herself is great. It's great that they made the heavier card. I'm not a fan of this fold over card that, you know, they use that on the Legends retro stuff. Now, the previous G.I. Joe retro stuff was on that really, really thin card. I think there's a middle ground. I think you just use a heavier card back and still do the heat seal on this. And this is more costly to fold over. Like, that's very expensive, because I looked at, when I moved to the blister cards, we looked at this option and it's a much more expensive option than just the heat seal to it. So if you could just get a thicker stock, just do the heat seal, makes it easier. This is where, like, I'm just like, man, now I get it. For language, they have to sell it everywhere. G.I. Joe has never really been an overseas brand. It's always been a very North America brand, mostly U.S. You know, the red, white, and blue, blah, blah, blah. Now this retro, you're going red, white, and blue. You know, I know they changed that for G.I. Joe moving forward, but this is retro, so you still get that red, white, and blue. So you shouldn't really worry about selling this overseas and have for language. So you could have just given me a normal sized file card without, you know, the 4 language. I just think would have been nice. It's cool having the cross L, but give me a file card, man. You know, so that was my problem with that. You know, I got some other examples here. I have something like an import. This is a Mafex Boba Fett. I love Mafex. You guys have heard me say it's one of my favorite toy lines on the market today. The thing I don't like about import stuff is like you're spending a lot of money on a figure. Now, I'm sure the majority of people are taking these out of the box, so it really doesn't matter. But you see it, it's like because they have that extra clamshell over the top, it creates so much glare. So much glare. You don't see everything. It's just like, oh, I gotta hold it here. Oh, okay, no glare there. I can see everything. It's just why, like, you know, that really bothers me. But they don't hide anything. They show you the figure. They really celebrate it. It's like small Boba Fett down here, Boba Fett Mafex. You know, it's like, if you notice, it doesn't even say Star Wars on the front of the packaging, which is kind of crazy that they were able to get away with that. Now, licensors may handle certain lines a different way. You know, if this was Hasbro, maybe they would have had to have Star Wars on the front. Who knows? But Star Wars is right there, and it's on the back, it's on the sides. It is not on the front. So that is really interesting. Gives them more room to show the actual product. You know, and then on the back, no 3D render. That's an actual figure. So I like that. I like that they're showing it. And they're highlighting the good things about it. Detail on his helmet, backpack, his weapons, his armor. Showing him in multiple different poses. This is the way it should be done. Like, celebrate that figure. Really show me what this figure can do. You know, figures on the side. There's no artwork. Like, this is the figure here. This is the figure here. This is the figure here. That's the way it should be done. Like, you know, I went back and forth with that on my cross sells. Like, should I show artwork? Or should I show the figures? You know, so it's like, I got to the point where I started showing the figures because it's just like, well, you're celebrating the figures. So on my cross sells, it's the actual product, not, you know, artwork. At least I think. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure, because over the years, I've changed it a bunch of different times because I'm trying to see what works and what doesn't. To me, it's all about the product. Here, all right, here's a Marvel Legend. Now this one's from, you know, a few years ago. When is this from? 2020. You know, so, you know, you might say, oh, this is an older one, you know, but, you know, okay, I get to see most of the figure. I just still think a lot of this is big. You know, you're trying to do really cool stuff. Simple. Give it, make it simplified. This is simple. This is simple. This is probably when it retailed, it was like an $80 figure. You know, why can't this be pulled off so simple? You know, it, like I said, you get to see the figure, which is cool. I'm sure there was some sort of, you know, rights issue, royalties, what have you, why they couldn't do, you know, Hugh Jackman in the artwork, you know, which is interesting because you did him right here. It's just that all those legal things, like that kind of stuff always drove me nuts working on Marvel. It's like, wait, I could do this, but I can't do that. What makes that different? So, you know, it's different, I guess, because if you can't do Hugh Jackman, how do you do it? You know how you do it. You show the figure. Like, that's what you could have done. Instead, I got this black and white, non-Hugh Jackman face 3 times. Like, you mean you couldn't have just done it on the sides and then show me the figure on the back? I don't know why. I don't know why you couldn't do that, but you could have done that. Celebrate the figure, guys. And then here's McFarlane, Toddy Mac. He does a lot right, but some things are a little weird. Now he does a larger figure, so it's like, you know, 6-inch versus 7-inch. His packaging is, you know, a lot bigger, you know. But what I do like is he shows you the whole figure. You know, he even raises the figure up. I'm sure there's some big figures that maybe fall down below. But if you look, the branding is here. He raised the figure up so it's as close to the top as possible, and so that he's feet to head. Shows the whole figure. You know, this is shows the Build-A-Figure parts. You know, you can even see part of the stand that's back there. It's like stand, okay, and then this weird, you know, is the trading card, but keeps the side open, lets some more light in, top light in. You know, I think had I stayed with the boxes for Action Force, I'd have cut more open to get more light in, but we moved to blisters, so now it doesn't matter. But you know, and then you get to the weird thing about this is, and he's always done this. He uses, I'm not going to say it's AI. It looks AI, but I don't know 100%. I just know it's not the figure. It's not 3D rendering of the figure. It's this Bane, but it's artwork of Bane, but it's made to look realistic, but it's not, there's no articulation. It's generated artwork. It's not a photo from the movie. So I'm just like, oh, like, okay. Especially if you're doing a Build-A-Figure, like, show the figure, show what it is. Like, this should show the figure. There should be a 3D rendering of at least the figure here. You know, and then you got a cross-sell, but it's like, I have a cross-sell of Batman, Joker, Harvey Dent, Scarecrow. But it's like they're movie posters. It's not, you know, how do I know what I'm getting? So it's like, that's where things are done weird. But, you know, other than that, like, this is cool. I mean, DC branding, DC Multiverse, cool. There's no Dark Knight trilogy, Dark Knight anything like that sort of branding, but we know what he's from. So, you know, the packaging's huge, you know, and it's cool because you kind of display the figure's arms out a bit more. I'm sure they could have found a way to make this a little smaller, but it's not egregious. But again, it shows me the figure. I look at this thing, I see his feet and I see his head. I see his feet and his head. I don't see his feet. These are Rob Liefeld packages. I don't see the feet. I barely see the feet and the head. Okay. See the feet and the head. I see from the knees up. So there needs to be, like, I wish there was like a legal parameter for figure packaging that you have to show the whole item, you know, or at least like feet to head. Like, I want to see it. I'm paying money for, I want to see it, you know? But it's just not the case. So I don't know. That's my rant on modern toy packaging. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think. Think I'm totally wrong. It's cool. It's just my take. It shouldn't be everyone's opinion. It's just like what I look for out of an item. I'm sure there's tons of you that are going to be watching this that are inbox collectors. But what I'm curious for the inbox collectors is, if you're keeping it in the box, do you still want to see more of the figure? Like, would you rather an inbox collector be like this, or like an inbox collector like this, or, you know, like this? Like, how are you guys that are not taking that thing out? How do you want to show it? It might not matter to you guys, you know, and to me, it's always fascinating about inbox collectors, because it's like, well, why are you keeping it in the box? Is it a value thing? Is it something you're speculating for? Like, what is it? You know, because to me, it's like, I want to play with the toy. So, you know, keeping something in the box, especially modern. Like I said, if you buy something vintage, of course, you're not going to crack open, you know, an 88 perfectly mint hit and run. Like, no, you know, you're going to buy a loose one. So, yeah, let me know, comments down below. Hope you guys dug this video. Hope you guys are digging our content. We got so much more coming. We have new videos every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you like and subscribe, turn on your notifications, you know, all that YouTube stuff. And, you know, we'll see you on the next one.